Hey. Season 2, episode 2, back to school special, left, right, and blue. I'm Russ, this is Tim.
I have nothing to say.
And that's pretty much it. That was my intro. He asked me to do the intro, so there you go.
All right, everybody, we're back.
And we're back.
Episode 2 of season 2. It's our back to school special. It is not our after school special like
No,
we
it is
thought
not.
it was
Yes.
before. So
Don't do drugs, kids.
Stay in school.
Stay in school. Reefer madness.
So we are back to school. I'm a teacher, and I have kids, and they're all back in school. We go a little early here in Florida, but everybody else around the country, I think, is just starting to get back into school.
Yep.
So I figured we'd have this little back to school kickoff kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But before we get into everything, I want to actually Russ is going to show us what we're going to drink.
Oh, okay. So
Because it's been a long week of back to school, and I'll tell you, I got a lot of alcohol today.
yeah, it's been a week.
It's been a long week.
I'm a behavior analyst. For those of you who don't know, I provide behavioral support mostly in schools, actually. So yeah, I've been in school with, not at the same school with Tim, but I've been in school at the same time. I place the first week, end of the second week for us. So I work in Volusia County.
Same
so,
with us. Same
yeah,
with us,
in the second week. So,
But a lot of you guys are out there that you're just starting up. But like we've already done our planning week, and we've already had 2 weeks with students. And this year, I am not working with gifted students.
right, you're back in the
I'm
regular
back in the
classroom.
regular 5th grade classroom.
So now you
teaching
actually
all
have
the
to work.
subjects. You know, it's the same amount of work. It's just, and I'll get into it after I get some liquor in me, but
Sure.
it's not the same. And it's crazy. And I know our state and our school is not the only school of teachers, state of teachers that are going through what we're doing. And but I'll get into that later.
But let's get into a beer.
Yes. What do you
All
got?
right, so I brought, this is not like an unusual beer. There's probably some folks out here who've had this. This is New Belgium, and this is their Voodoo Ranger. It's a Juicy Haze IPA. I don't know if you've ever had a Juicy IPA.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
This kind of came out of New England. They're a hazy IPA. They're not filtered. And to me, 9 times out of 10, it's like if you took an IPA and mixed it with orange juice. But I love them. Yeah. So we're gonna pop this open. My brother-in-law Zach hates these things, but I adore them. I'm pouring it straight down the middle of this mug, which is making a mess.
Oh, lovely foam.
Yeah. These are just big mugs of foam, actually, if you don't want to know what the New England style IPA is. But I love these things. Like if you're sitting around the pool or just got done mowing the lawn, there's a little bit of a higher alcohol in it. This was 7.5.
What is the flavor of this? Is
Again,
it
to me, without putting this in my mouth first,
a little citrusy,
Yeah.
or it smells a little
to
citrusy?
me, it's almost aggressively like orange or lemon up front.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them, and they're usually a little more effervescent. But yeah, so cheers.
Clink.
Welcome back to school. Just take a big old mouthful. These are fun.
Yes, very refreshing.
Yeah, you feel like it's almost like there's an orange juice going on, or lemon. There's a citrus, maybe even
It's pretty
grapefruit.
light, and
Yeah.
I'm into that because I don't really like IPAs,
Yeah.
little heavy IPAs.
And if you look at it, it's not filtered, so it looks a little hazy. The color, you see, it's kind of, they don't filter it, so I love these.
Yeah,
These
that's
are
good.
a lot of fun.
So this is, what is this called?
This is the New Belgium Voodoo Ranger. It's a
Okay.
Juicy Haze IPA. So they call it a haze because it's not filtered. Let's just get rid of this thing here. Obviously, since our last show, there's been a lot going on in the news.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
Go ahead.
well, like I said, I'm going to go over some back to school things.
Oh,
that I've
yeah, go
noticed.
ahead. Yep. Because there's some stuff we can absolutely talk about regarding that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of kids that are staying home for homeschool. I think the public schools, they're going. I don't know if they're trying to get rid of parents and students, but they're not making it fun for the kids. They're trying to cram. I know they're paranoid about these test scores and
Right.
stuff. But my schedule, and I know that my niece is going through the same thing. She lives in New Jersey. My other niece works in California, so
Right.
we all relate to the same thing. It's they're trying to jam as much knowledge down these kids' throats, but they're looking over all the teachers. They're looking all over the teacher's shoulder all the time.
Right.
It's like they don't trust us with our job. It's like a hospital administrator
That's a
standing
really
behind
good way.
a surgeon.
Yeah.
You know, not that we're a surgeon, but it's our career. It's just what we devoted. We're always constantly being watched.
And you know, again, I spend time in schools and I'm seeing this firsthand. Like, so I'm like this third eye observer of what's going on, and it really is frustrating. To almost across the board, the assumption just is educators have no common sense. They have no professional judgment. That all has to be taken away from them. You know, even with some of the stuff at the beginning of the year. And I mean, I'm not going to get into a whole discussion about this now, but the whole we got that thing sent home to us about kids' first names, and the parents had to fill out a form and all that stuff if you wanted to call them something else.
Right.
And then we got sent this whole thing about gender and all this other stuff and the gender. Like, regardless of where you sit on that topic, I saw that to mean we're going to take all decision making from the teacher out of it. Like, you as a teacher, you as a professional educator, I trust you as a professional to handle these topics as they come up.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think that ties into the whole nickname and the gender. It ties into the rules, the new laws
Right.
that DeSantis put into effect.
Right.
Which is you can't use a bathroom if you're the opposite, if you're identifying as the opposite. That's what it comes down to. So you have to use your biological sex bathroom, or if you're uncomfortable with that, then you can use, they have bathrooms throughout all the schools that are both.
like a neutral.
A neutral.
Yeah.
So, and then it goes back to the nicknames where a kid can't go, I don't want you to call me Johnny, I want you to call me Joanne.
Right.
But
But
without any kind of knowledge, like the parents don't know, and they think they want it. So all it is a sheet that says, if you want your kid to be called this other name, you just have to sign this. So the teachers are not getting into this legal battle, and they don't want the teachers in the middle of it. So
well, I have a couple questions. So, as someone who watched this roll out, so I was sitting in on the first day of school this year. I was sitting in a 5th grade classroom. Right, that was the first classroom I walked into. My client's in a 5th grade classroom, and the teacher has all the kids sitting at their desks. They have name tags on top of their desks, and the teacher is handing out these forms and discussing these forms. And the way it was presented in that classroom, now I'm not saying this is across the board how it's presented, but in this classroom, Michael was Michael. He was not Mike. Like, it was like that stringent.
Absolutely. Robert, you can't call them Rob. You have
Right.
to make sure it's Robert.
Yeah.
So
And
I think it's the lawyers are kind of taking over. I see that, but it is what it is.
I mean,
I'm not necessarily in agreement at that scope, but I think it all ties back to kids being able to. I don't want you to call me this person. I want you to call me this name, this
Right.
nickname, and the parents not knowing about it. So I think it ties in with. It's fine if you want to be called that, but you just need to let your parents know.
Yeah, and I guess I to some degree understand that.
But if you do it in one level, you have to
You
kind
do
of
it
go
all of them.
across the
No,
board.
I know.
So even if Timothy becomes Tim, I still need to do that. If I was Timothy, I want you to call me
Aaron. But can I just ask a question? I mean, is there a part of you that is going, at least as I see it, this to me is just seems like such extreme overkill. Like when you just like nationally speaking, the trans community is less than 1% of the population, right? So I feel like some of these laws that are going around. I think it was in Michigan recently. They passed some state law regarding trans athletes in school, and the totality of high school trans athletes in the entire state was like 4 or 5 kids, and they took all this time and energy and money and also to handle 4 or 5 kids, which to me gets back to my understanding that you as a teacher are a professional. You know what you are doing. And even though you and I sit on different sides of the fence politically, I believe your decision making in a classroom will fall within my wheelhouse.
One would think, but that's how this all started, is because teachers were trying to be psychologists and trying to go to places where they really had no expertise.
Okay.
Their expertise is teaching your subject. Period. That's it. Stop trying to be a guidance counselor.
Okay.
Okay. And there was too many teachers getting into these kids' heads and thinking that they could mold them and say, "Oh, you want to have long hair? That's fine. You want to be a girl? That's fine." And kind of coerce it without the parents' knowledge, though.
Right. So,
and then they're out of their league doing that. You can't. There's a lot of kids, and you just said it. True transgender people is less than 1%.
correct.
So 99% or 90% of these kids that are going through this this identity issue.
Right.
It's called gender what is it called? What's the word?
I don't know.
Shoot.
Gender fluidity, gender dysmorphia. Okay.
Where almost 99% of them that are going through this realize it's just an identity issue, and they go through it and they realize, it's not for me.
I mean, and I guess
you don't trust these kids. Are not fully developed. Their brains are not fully developed.
Right.
You don't trust them doing a lot of things, driving a car. They can't do a lot of things without parental consent.
Right.
You don't want them doing these things that could affect the rest of their life.
I guess my question.
So all it is keeping the parents in the loop,
right?
Keeping the teachers out of the loop. You have no business going into that area if you're not an expert in that field.
So, I mean, just as someone who's been sitting in classrooms now for several years, elementary, middle, and high school, in a variety of different settings, I've just never seen that, right? Like to me, and I think you made the point at the beginning of this discussion, there's so much being put on these kids. What I am seeing is a teacher rapidly just trying to get control of the behaviors in the classroom so they can then begin to teach subject matter.
Ideally.
No, but I'm saying this is what I'm seeing, right? So, I mean, I guess it's possible that there are teachers out there that have a social agenda. I mean, I guess you take a large enough group of people, there's going to be somebody out there doing that.
That's the thing, though. You got to. My politics are not in the classroom. Do it the opposite. Think of it the opposite. Correct. Not that I am going to do this, but what if you had a teacher that was anti-gay?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
They have no business going up to a kid that is obviously gay or outwardly gay and saying, that's wrong.
Right.
That's against the Bible.
Correct.
That's this and that and the other.
Correct.
You shouldn't do that.
Right.
Okay. On the other end, you shouldn't have a teacher saying you should be gay.
Well, I don't think anybody's saying you should be gay.
You should dress like a girl. If you have tendencies to be, they shouldn't be persuading them to go either way.
I mean, persuade is kind of a strong term.
Even talking about it.
Well,
a teacher should not even be mentioning that. It's not their position either way.
Okay, I'm not saying that it's a subject that a teacher should bring up. I think it's probably more likely the case that a child comes to the teacher, and then the question becomes, what do you do?
You say, well, I'm not comfortable talking
and this
about
is where
that.
the term.
This is something where you need to discuss with your parent or somebody else.
Is it reasonable to go? Like people have gotten confused about this term gender affirming care. This term has taken on a meaning that essentially just means something surgical. right?
Well, but because it has led to that.
Right, but the term itself just means you tell me how you identify yourself, and I'm just going to be here to support that, right?
I'll go with it. So that's where that paper comes in.
Right.
If you want to be called Joanna
right.
instead of Johnny, that's fine. Take this paper home to your parents.
Right.
Bring it back, and I'll call you whatever you want.
Yeah. No, I understand.
And that should be the end of it.
Right.
Okay. But it shouldn't be like, persuading them to be. You should be called. You should just change your name. You should forget about Johnny.
But I don't.
If
think
you're
anyone,
not.
I don't.
No,
it's
happening though. Why do you think they
happened,
didn't pull this crap out of nowhere?
I kind of sometimes think they did.
Oh my God! No, they did not.
I mean, because
this whole thing came. And what about all these kids that are getting that are basically they're mutilating these kids with or taking away healthy organs if they want without parental permission, because they're 16, 17 years old and they want a double mastectomy,
right? Because
they don't want to be a girl anymore,
right?
Without any parental, and then when they're kids, they're not even developed. They haven't even had time to think about this. So this is life-changing, and it's mutilation. When you remove a healthy organ to a minor, that's mutilation.
So, what is circumcision?
What is it? It's not removing an entire organ.
Well, I didn't say the word entire.
Okay, well,
right? Yeah.
I mean, but like,
healthy what organs. Is?
And that's for health reasons. That's supposedly that's.
But we have soap. I mean, I went to school with a guy who.
Okay, but the parents agreed to it as a baby.
Right.
I'm not talking. If the parents,
I don't know where someone under the age of 18 is able to access a surgical procedure without a
because
parental.
Because going through organizations that are doing it without letting their parents know. Yeah, that's what's been happening. Okay. They're going around the parents to do it, and even so. You have to be 18 to get a tattoo.
Right.
But you don't have to be 18 to have your gender changed surgically?
No, I don't think that's correct.
So you don't think this is happening?
I'm not going to say that it's never happened. I'm just going to say that I don't
So there was a rare 1 or 2 case incident, and then that's why all the Republicans are making this big deal because they're making it up.
Actually.
It's because you don't hear it. You don't see it because you're stuck on MSNBC.
No,
okay? I watch CNN. I watch a little bit of NBC. I just did it after the debate. I see what they're talking about.
What you're suggesting is that somewhere out there is a 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kid.
Yes.
Who went through a significant removing of their genitalia.
Yes, they're getting transgender surgery before they're 18.
And without the consent of a parent.
Some, yes. Okay. Most, no. But the whole idea is they shouldn't be making this kind of decision at a young age.
I think everyone would agree to that.
You would say that, but no. They're not. Your liberal Democrats are fighting Republicans on every turn trying to outlaw this until they're 18.
I think that sometimes, and I think this is an example of things that someone can perceive to be extreme. So I think that you're right that there could be a situation out there where there's a child who is struggling with their gender identity and for one reason or another perceives they can't speak to their parent, and for whatever reason you as the teacher or someone they trust more or someone that they think as a professional they could come to in one way or another. So those situations I'm sure arise where the classroom teacher becomes aware of a gendered identity issue, a sexuality issue, a substance use issue.
Being aware is one thing. Acting upon it, totally different.
Right, and again,
that's why they need to move it on to the social worker, to the guidance counselor, and then they need to contact the parents and say, look, and this is what they do.
Right.
Do we have permission to talk to your kids about this? They're having problems with it. But if the parents say no,
but I mean, can somebody reasonably argue that this seems like you're using a hammer when all you need is a screwdriver? Could you?
You would think.
No, I'm asking you. Like when you come in and start handing out pamphlets, or like you're Michael until you're otherwise. I get permission to call you Mike.
Is there another way that you can stop this? I mean,
how often is it actually happening that now we're discussing
it enough to where I'm seeing it? You're seeing all these protests.
Right.
the girl, the swimmer, Riley Gaines, is it her name?
Yeah.
Well,
I heard about the swimmer. I don't know her name is.
She's
Yeah.
an activist for women,
Right.
because she's against transgender men changing in the locker room and competing against these women.
Yeah, I remember.
She's getting spit on.
Right.
And her life threatened.
Yeah, no.
Why is that?
Okay,
so it's happening out there.
No, this swimmer's protesting.
She's advocating
for
women,
not having trans people in a locker room.
The opposite sex in their locker room, and competing against women.
So let me ask this question. If you're going to have the discussion, should trans people be allowed in a sport?
Sure.
Right? If we're going to have that discussion, who should be the ones that actually make that decision? Like, who should be the people that go, this sport, like, let's just say for giggles, right? A simple example would be like mixed martial arts.
And it's happened.
Right. So we would go that would be like an extreme example of like where it seems like maybe that shouldn't be happening. Right? Like that's probably not.
Because it has.
Right, and it has, and people have gotten hurt.
These girls have gotten hurt.
Absolutely,
yes.
right.
And the weightlifter.
Right. So then,
who was a crappy weightlifter as a guy, but won the championship as a girl.
So then let me ask this question. Let's go the other way. Let's say you had a trans athlete who was a bowler, played darts, chess, so there's the other extreme,
okay,
right?
Where is there men chess versus women chess? Or
I think there is,
chess?
actually. I think there is.
Well, I don't know why they separate that. But
right.
If it's a physical activity,
right.
But if they separate men and women, yes, it has to be biological, even if it is chess. Okay. If you're going to do one, you got to do them all.
Right. So, but
the whole idea is they have an advantage. Yeah. This weightlifter guy who was identifying as a woman just beat the crap out of all the women weightlifters, because he's a guy, and it's a physical fact.
So I think that most people would agree that there's a concern or a worry or a problem there.
You keep saying it, but
my question would be, who should be making the decision about that sport?
Well, the whole idea is to protect the rights of the people who are getting screwed.
Right. Well, hold on. I wouldn't use the word right, but I would certainly discuss like
what happened to women's rights.
Well, women's rights involve things like employment and getting a mortgage and like voting, right?
And
but like
being able to equal rights.
But that term does not apply everywhere, right? So like in a sport,
no, but in a bathroom,
equal rights don't exist in a bathroom.
So you're saying it's not against the law for me to go into a girl's bathroom?
It is not.
It is.
It is absolutely not.
Dude, you need to look at the law book.
Now,
it is absolutely illegal for me to go into a girl's bathroom.
I don't believe that's correct.
I dare you to go try it with a police officer.
No. I'm not saying there won't be a consequence.
There is a law that you cannot say.
All right. I think the concern is, I think that if you were doing something, like someone would walk in there and go, "What are you doing? Can I help you? Are you mistaken? Are you misguided?"
So it's so funny because the liberals are they used to be women's rights.
Right. So I'm just questioning the word use of the word right. So that how are you defining that? So like yes, we talk about women's rights, but that term rights doesn't just apply everywhere at all times. Like a right is something provided.
So you're saying that women should not have the right to be able to compete against other women in women's sports?
I'm absolutely not saying that. I'm saying...
So why you're talking about semantics here.
I am a little bit, yeah. But my question again...
I don't care what difference you call it. I don't care if you name it a right or a...
Let's say we're going to talk about...
The point is, it's wrong, but it's happening. So something needs to be done about it.
I don't disagree that there's an issue. And let's see if we can come up with a term that might work. Fairness in the sport, right? So let's say, what's fair?
Fine,
what's reasonable or fair, right?
It still needs to be regulated.
I still ask the question, who should be making that decision? So let's take a look at weightlifting. That's a really good example. So you and I would probably sit here and go, at the very least, raise an eyebrow with a male to female trans athlete doing powerlifting At the very least, that would cause a pause to go like, wait a second.
Would think,
we would think, right. So my question becomes, and again, who should be making the determination? Who should be making the decision
Well, you would
about the
think it
rules
would
of
go
that
to the
sport?
organization of the sport.
Right.
But that's not working because they're so afraid of being canceled. That's why the states or the federal government needs to step in because nobody is doing their part. So when they don't do their part, if all of a sudden, I say give it back to the states personally.
So
So if there's an organization based out of a specific state,
right.
they need to do it. Okay?
So let's say, for example, we're talking about women's tennis, right?
Okay.
So there's a governing body
Sure.
for women's tennis, and you're saying that governing body should be overruled by people that potentially have zero understanding or knowledge of that sport.
I think it's all comes down to protecting the women.
I'm 100% with you, and I'm just trying to ask the question: who should make that decision?
Well, if the organizing body is not making the proper decision, which is protecting the women, then the women need to be protected. So then the states need to come in and say, you can't do this because it's against the women's right to be able to compete against other women in your event.
How are you defining proper decision? In other words, like, is it just predetermined in your head that
it's not predetermined in my head?
So, like, let's say the women's tennis,
it's called the
WNBA, whatever. The WNBA basketball, right?
If it's women's basketball,
right,
then women should be in it, not men.
Right, but again, I
just
asked the
because
question.
if I identify as whatever,
right,
that doesn't give me the right to go into other. Just because I identify, it needs to be biological, whatever you are.
Okay, but again, I'm asking the question: who should make that decision? And to me, you might not like the outcome, and there might be social pressures that are impacting some of this decision making.
Outcome. It's not so minor. Like they've got girls that are training their entire lives and losing scholarships.
Right.
So then,
100%.
I guess then open it up to the lawyers then and let them sue these organizations.
No, but again,
because these organizations are not protecting these women.
So, and again, I bring up
we're going back in time.
Again, I bring up I think it was somewhere in the Midwest. It might have been Wisconsin. This whole argument was over about 4 kids, right? So again, I asked the question.
But these 4 kids are affecting a hell of a lot more than 4 kids. They're affecting the entire student body, or at least the female student body of these schools and these competitions. And it goes on, and there's a chain reaction. So these few individuals, you don't change the majority because of the minority.
And you know, agrees with you.
Ramswamy, he said an interesting thing the other day. He's like, we are in the minority oppression, which is we are catering to a minority oppression.
Okay.
And you can't do that. It's no different than catering to a majority oppression, which is what Alexander Hamilton was talking about. But this is the same thing that's happening. We're doing what the minority is telling us to do, and they're oppressing, in this case, women, to not be able to compete fairly because these men are competing. Right. That's like Shaq dressing up and like a girl, saying, I identify as a girl, and then going and playing basketball.
So let's
that's
have that.
Wrong.
I don't disagree with you. So I asked the question again. Let's say Shaq decides he's going to go play for the WNBA.
Like I said, the organization, if they drop the ball, then you got to stick up. The states and the government need to stick up.
So what I'm hearing you say
of the women.
What I'm hearing you say is that the only acceptable predetermined answer is that the trans athlete should not be allowed to play.
No, they can play, but under their own biological sex.
So the trans athlete cannot play under any condition.
No, they can play if they are. What is their biological sex?
That's not what the question is. The question is the trans athlete is for the sake of
they were biologically born as a female, then they can play with the females. If they're biologically born as a male, they can play with the males. So, end of question. What is the question?
I'm asking the same question every time.
And I'm answering it. So I don't know what you don't understand. If they have a penis, they're playing with the men. If they don't have a penis, they can play with the girls. What else is there? You don't understand it?
Yeah, like the trans athlete.
So you're making a word. You could be calling it a potato athlete,
right?
Okay, and they're not going. Oh, they can't play because they identify as a potato. That's a ridiculous argument. I don't care what you name them.
Mm-hmm.
You can name them anything you want. they're a guy or they're a girl.
Okay.
If they're a guy, they play with the guys. If they're a girl, they play with the girls. I have more alcohol. Finish that off.
What do you have? Oh, I've seen these.
This is a Coke Zero Jack Daniels. And I'm seeing this and I'm like, I'm not a big rum and
Jack and Coke?
Jack and Coke guy.
I am. I love Jack and Coke.
I know. I thought of you when I got this. And I'm like, we gotta try this because I like Diet Coke and there's no sugar in it.
I mean, you can try it before Tim punches me.
I need more alcohol. Oh shit.
Do you want to put it in there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it right in here. Right. Actually, I have 2 of them. Here, I'll take this one. I'll just give you your own.
Is that what you're really gonna do?
You want to
get smashed here next?
All right, I'm gonna.
Let's just split it. What's the alcohol in it? Do you know? Does it say in the can?
Probably.
All right.
There.
That looks good.
Here you go.
All right, you ready to put my glasses on?
No, I'll read it. It's 7%.
7%. Oh, it's like 14 proof. Okay, that's nothing. All right.
Well, let's try it. It's Jack and Coke.
Jack and Coke Zero.
That's pretty good. It's a little weird.
Well, no, it's got the artificial sweetener.
Yeah, but that's got Coke Zero. I mean, I like Coke Zero, but I think they put a little extra in there because it seems to be a little extra sweet.
Yeah, it's extra sweet. That's a great observation. Yeah, so I'm not a big Coke drinker, right? But
I drink Coke Zero from time to time.
Yeah.
So
this to me, I think you're right. I think maybe Coke decided we don't want to dilute the flavor with the Jack, so maybe we inserted a little bit more of the Coke syrup or whatever in there.
Coke Zero fake sugar stuff.
Yeah. You know, I heard on the news the other day that there's only like 2 or 3 people on the planet that have the original recipe for Coke in their head, and they're all over 80.
I know it's locked up in a safe.
Like, wait a minute, what? That's interesting. So this, I'm a big. I mean, Jack Daniels to me is the gold standard for, most American whiskeys, and my first mixed drink was a Jack and Coke, and yeah, this is neat.
All right, so I got something else while we're drinking this.
Go ahead.
Because this is like a regular drink.
Oh.
I have something that's a little more,
okay,
that we're not going to drink as much of it, and because of it's back to school, themed.
Right, what did you do?
So I got this.
I do love you.
I'm gonna save the best.
I do love you to death.
I was just telling somebody about how our alcohol of the day has evolved into
alcohols.
Like the weird ass shit alcohol of the day, and like McGillicuddy's.
I do need to share with you guys. Tim came to my birthday party, which was a couple of weeks ago, and he brought me the Buck Shack. And I was like, this is how I know I love this guy. Like, everybody's like, what the hell is Buck Shack? And I'm like, you just have to watch the show.
Have you broke the cap?
I haven't even opened it yet.
Oh my God.
But you know why? Because I noticed on the bottle, it was like 2020. It's like I don't know if you knew that when you bought it. It's like 3 years old.
Yeah, I know.
So part of me is like, I think I might want to hold on to it, or maybe I'll wait till like next season or something like that. I'll bring it back.
I have like 6 bottles of it.
Do you really? You're an ass. Are you serious? I think it's all special. He's like, no, they were put to BOGO.
They were actually, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's still buckshot. Come on. So anyway, so with the spirit of back to school, I have.
What is that?
This is an E&J
apple
brandy.
It's a E&J brandy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
E&J apple is a unique twist on a time-honored drink or classic.
Honey, just get in the car and like just
made
hang out
with a blend of brandy.
I can't.
Well, you gotta watch the movie.
All right, we're sticking to watching the movie.
And natural apple flavors. It's so smooth it can be enjoyed straight up or mixed.
Dude, E&J is okay.
What?
E&J's okay. Let's just go for it.
What were you gonna say?
E&J can be a little rough.
I know, but. In the spirit of blowing off dust, I had to we're only gonna drink a little bit of it.
Oh man, okay, this is gonna be fun. And just can you let the folks at home know like what it looks syrupy coming out of the bottle.
It's actually not too bad. It's
just in the front.
Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, maybe.
Hang on, right by your thumb. I got
750 milliliters, 60 proof.
60 proof. Oh, that's not bad.
Bad, no.
Okay. All right, here we go. Cheers. Let's see what this is here. Okay, so yeah, this is
Oh, it's good.
That's like a green apple.
Oh my
God.
green
apple.
Oh yeah. It's like I don't know if you remember Berenson.
That's a Granny Smith apple right there.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Yeah. So hold on, let me just.
This is a shot.
Tim threw it back. I'm sitting here smelling it.
I just took a sip.
Okay,
This
so
is a
hold on,
shot,
hold on.
So we could sip it, but it's really a good little shot.
Oh.
It's really good though. It's
So,
very
yeah.
like crisp.
So
and it
I like
has-
So what this does for me, or the thing I'm picking up, is the apple up front. It's the apple. Yeah, yeah. It's exactly whatever that right
warms
there.
you.
Yeah.
It warms you all up inside.
So the apple up front, and then like after you swallow it, you go, oh, there's the brandy. Yeah, it's like a little.
It's
yeah.
just like if you want to get relaxed,
Yeah.
you drink some of this stuff. This is
This
will like calm your nerves. I need to put like some of this in like my.
I think Tim's had a bit of a rough week.
Can you tell?
We're already like.
And you know,
halfway through
all
the
that
show,
stuff we
bro.
just talked about for 35 minutes is not what was been bothering me. I was saying that, you know, these admins up at the way at the top, they want to try to cram these kids down their throats with as much knowledge in a little bit of time and stressing everybody out, stressing the teachers out. We have no transition time. Now, I want you, it's been 12 years since I've been in the 5th grade class, where I'm teaching all the subjects. You know, usually I can take my time and I can get these kids doing things, and I can do with social issues, and I can kind of make my own schedule. But now they want us to teach the exact same thing, the exact same time. And I always tell everybody, you know, there was a Terminator ride at Universal Studios. Do you remember that?
Say again.
Terminator?
Yeah, of course.
At Universal.
Yes,
It's
yes,
not
yes,
there
I
anymore.
loved it.
But one of the things when you were waiting in the queue line is you come in and they give you a movie.
Right.
And they're like talking about, it's Cyberdyne.
It's
you know?
Cyberdyne
And they're like
systems, yeah.
talking about all the cool,
What a great ride that was.
all the cool innovations they're going to come up with. And you watch this movie and they're like, imagine a world where you can tuck your kid in from across the country. And these robotic hands are like tucking in the kid. And they're like, imagine a world where your child can learn the same thing at the same time as people in Phoenix and Detroit and LA. And it was a joke, and all the kids were sitting there in front of like this one robotic teacher.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing now.
Yeah.
And that was a joke.
Is the
10,
term,
15
is the
years
term,
ago.
if I have it right, is it horizontal learning? Is that what they call that?
There is
where it's like the
horizontal
whole
learning.
idea is that like
No,
everybody in all locations are kind of learning the
Well,
same.
horizontal is like you're getting all the grade level,
Right.
and then vertical learning is
It's like first grade, second grade, third
you're
grade, fourth grade.
progressing,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
up a ladder, which is fine. But the way they have it set up, they're not letting
So,
teachers be individuals.
I do have a question I
They
wanna
want
ask
everybody
you
to
about
do the
this.
same thing at the same exact time, and they keep again looking over your shoulder. They come into your classroom. They want to make sure everybody's teaching the same thing at the same time. Every class is different.
Right.
Every kid is different.
Right.
I'm used to when I first started teaching, 20 some years ago. If your class needed more subtraction or
You just
multiplication,
adjusted.
you said, all right, we're gonna hold off on social studies today. We're gonna do a double lesson tomorrow, or whatever. Rearrange the schedule a little bit. We're gonna hit and do some more multiplication.
Right.
You can't do that. You gotta keep moving. You leave them in the
So
dust.
here's my question that I wanted to ask you about this, and I have what I perceive to be my answer in my head about this question, but I'm curious as to yours. So, what do you perceive to be like the genesis of this? Like, because when you and I first moved to Florida, I taught in the state, and I realized very quickly I'm not a teacher, and God bless you for doing what you do. But you think it's standardized testing?
Absolutely. Ever since the standardized testing started, it's this data thing. Now, I have no objections against data.
Right.
Data is great, but it's a tool. It's not the end-all, be-all of the universe.
It's one marker.
It is a marker.
Yeah.
And testing in itself is just one marker of a student's progression, because not everybody's a good tester. I was never a good tester. I turned out okay. Now I'm teaching.
See, now I was the opposite of that. I was an awful student and killed tests.
See,
standardized tests, I destroyed them, but I was like a C- student.
I had no patience for it. I would Christmas tree because you know what? I'm like, I
was
can't
the
be
exact opposite.
I don't want to be bothered with this crap. So I didn't do as well as I should have done because I just didn't want to deal with it.
I have no idea why I just washed down the apple
same thing
with the whiskey.
seconds ago.
Like, why did I just do that? Like, oh God.
But yeah, I think the standardized testing has got everybody in a kerflunkle because everybody's worried, and it's also has to do with a lot of job security.
Yeah.
Everybody's worried about these scores going down, and they're panicking, and they're taking it on these poor kids.
So
these kids don't have any fun.
Let me
anymore.
ask you a question, because my answer to the question I asked you is different. And I'm not trying to suggest that your answer is wrong. I'm just going like I have a different observation.
Right.
My observation is behavior. So what I am seeing, now I spend a lot of time in like kindergarten classrooms. My mom is a retired kindergarten teacher. And I remember going to kindergarten, and a lot of that process as a child was the kindergarten teacher teaching you about sharing and teaching you how to take turns and teaching like how to have fun and how to make friends and how to do all that crap they taught us on Sesame Street. Civics, right?
It's social studies.
All that stuff.
Yes.
So now I sit in the kindergarten classroom,
and it's all
and
academic.
none of that's going on.
It's all academic. I agree.
And I think so from my perspective, and again, my whole world is just behavior, right? So we're skipping that. We're skipping the taking of the time and energy to teach a kid patience, to teach a kid frustration tolerance, to teach study skills, like
working with each other,
working with other people, being part of a team, right? So now in kindergarten, instead of teaching those like fundamental building blocks, we're going, these are shapes, these are numbers, these are colors, which is all stuff you should learn in kindergarten, but like kind of adjunct to all this stuff. So then the kid gets in your classroom, and the kid doesn't know how to wait, the kid doesn't know how to share, they're impatient, they have no frustration tolerance. So as a consequence, their ability to study and do well diminishes.
Absolutely.
So then they look at you and they go, what are you doing wrong in there? And then it's all like drive, academics.
And all that does is it perpetuates the fact that they're bored.
Yes.
They don't want to learn.
Right.
They rebel.
Right.
They throw chairs across the room.
100%.
And it all stems from the fact that they are still kids, and these admins don't realize that these are kids.
Right.
You have to make it fun for them. And making a fun little computer app is not the answer.
No, it is not.
You know, it's sure, they like to go on that, but the actual learning needs to be more fun. I have so many activities that I could be doing with these kids, these project-based learning that I could be doing instead of what they want me to do.
Right.
They would learn the same thing, and they would have a blast doing it, and they would trick them into learning.
Right.
They wouldn't even know that they're in a classroom. That's what I based my entire career upon.
Right. And
I can't do that
away
now.
Right.
I have to be a robot doing boring ass reading and doing stories that they don't like. The stories that they're picking for them are crap. Instead of taking a chapter book, doing the same exact thing. You can still do theme and plot and settings and author's purpose and all that stuff with a chapter book.
Right.
Instead of just letting us do that, they're making us do the textbook word for word, question by question, like we're idiots.
Right. And I think that is coming from my perception is that this kind of across the board drop in academic performance has nothing to do with the teachers and has everything to do with the student's ability to learn.
Right? And the way that we're projecting the information.
Yes. So, like, for example, right? And this is like my speech I give all the time. So you and I are about the same age. When you were a child, how many people lived in your house? When you were like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, how many people were in your house?
We had 5 of us.
5 in the house.
So 7 people.
7 people total in your house.
Yeah.
How many televisions were in your house?
1.
How many telephones were in your house?
1.
So just like, and I know Tim's parents and I adore Tim's family, but like your parents didn't go to like exceptional parenting school or anything like that. They were just parents.
Yeah.
But you had no option but to learn how to share stuff, wait for stuff. When you came home and wanted to watch TV, did you ever have a choice as to what was on the TV?
Hell no.
No, right? I'm sitting there.
I had to wait till high school and work at a TV repair place, learn about that, and I actually repaired some TVs and I brought them home when I was 16 that I fixed, so I would have my own TV.
So you walking into a kindergarten classroom understood no. Understood wait, understood share.
Correct.
Right now, a kid today walking into a school Oh, you pulled that sucker out. Yeah, a kid today walking into a school, walking into a kindergarten classroom, theoretically could never have ever been exposed to those things. Because now every kid has a tablet, a phone, multiple televisions, computers, all this stuff. Can you imagine going to a restaurant with your parents and sticking your face in a tablet for an hour in a restaurant? My dad would have smacked the crap out of me. Yeah, my parents worked too hard. So you're supposed to sit there and engage with other people.
Exactly.
You know, and I honestly think that this is the thing, and we gotta point the finger at somebody, and we're pointing it at teachers. And I think it's nonsense. So okay, so
we got 15 minutes here, so we got
our actual topics. I'm glad we did this tonight, but this is way off what we thought we were going to do. But what I want you to do, I got this for you. I want you to read the front of it and just
Lagunitas, Maximus, Colossal IP, Robusticus Flavorkiss.
Robusticus
sounds like a Roadrunner.
The Roadrunner. All right, so this
for all the hopheads.
Yeah, this is an unapologetic IPA.
Oh geez.
Yeah, this is
crazy about this.
This is a mouthful right here.
All right.
Yeah,
we got 15 minutes. While we're pouring this and tasting this, I know you wanted to talk about Trump. I think it's old news. I mean, I think he's innocent, proven guilty.
Right.
We'll see how far these things go. I think there's an investigation, a federal investigation on the girl in Georgia.
Right.
The DA.
Which is not even
because I think it's
applicable, but
well, I think she's doing it for political gain. So from what I heard, there's not a whole lot there. So we'll see how it goes in court. But how she's like pushing for it to be in October, where there's people that have been waiting way longer before Trump.
Right.
In that same system, and they're saying out of her words that it's going to be at least a year before they even get to them. Whereas Trump is like rushed. And you see, it's kind of fishy.
All right, so we don't have a ton of time. But first, let's just go ahead and try this hot bomber here. Tab. Oh yeah,
it's a little heavy for
me. It's a lot. Yeah,
but it's pretty good.
All right, so I mean, and we're not going to go through the nitty-gritty of this right now, but historically speaking, the federal government has never been involved in state and local criminal law.
Yes, but they also at the same time,
so there's not even a precedent for that.
An ex-president has never had this much scrutiny put upon them.
Well,
I think you could.
I might push back.
What they're doing is they're opening up a can of worms, and I don't think they should, because on both sides. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get Republican DAs doing the same thing to Democratic officials and ex-presidents. And I don't think that's right. I don't think they probably could find a lot of crap with Biden, and I think they are. And I think this is just motivating them to go after Biden even more.
Here's my take on that. I think what's going on now,
and Obama's next,
is that you and I are sort of hardwired at this point to just affiliate the political affiliation of whomever into this mix. First of all, Donald Trump's charges were not placed on him by Biden or Nancy Pelosi or George Soros. These charges were put on him by a jury of citizens.
Of Democratic citizens.
No, hold on.
Let's be honest.
First of all,
Washington, D.C., Democrat.
All right, well, guess what?
The citizens are Democrats.
All right, well, listen, hold on.
Georgia, in that particular district, the grand jury,
you know what?
All Democrats.
Don't commit crimes in cities where people don't like you.
But that's
not even a justification.
But they're setting precedent that it's going to come back and bite them in the ass, because if they don't nip it in the bud now,
nip what? Hold on. Can we pull back for a second?
What's going to happen? Some of the New York case, all these scholars on both sides of the aisle, I've seen Democrats say the same thing. There's nothing there.
So let's pull back. Pull back for a second.
First of all, it should be in the federal courts, which the federal courts dismissed. The New York case,
you have federal crimes and you have state crimes.
But the DA in New York, the case against against the Stormy Daniels thing?
Yeah, the Stormy Daniels thing.
It's already been dismissed at the federal level, and now they're doing the same thing. It's really a federal jurisdiction, and they're trying to get something else out of it. So when already the federal government dismissed it.
If we can, just I have a question. I'd like to just pull back for a second.
You gotta be quick.
All right. Did Joe Biden legitimately win the election?
I think so.
Okay, so hold on.
Okay, but
Did Donald Trump potentially engage in illegal behavior to alter that outcome?
Here's the thing now. It is not illegal to believe that you won.
Okay, so
the only way to know if it's illegal is if you can get in his head, which you cannot.
No, that's not the only way.
So if he believed that he did not win, he had all the right he wanted to, to question.
Okay, but you and I would agree.
All he did was question.
You and I would agree. Now, I'm not saying that this is what happened, but you and I would agree that willful ignorance is not an excuse. Now, I'm not saying he did that,
but he didn't break the law.
But hold on.
He did not break any laws. All he did was denying the fact that he lost. Did he honestly believed, and all politicians before him, the Bush-Gore election, same damn thing happened with Gore.
So what was the phone call asking for someone to fine $11,000?
He wasn't threatening. He was asking.
Okay.
I think you can. I believe I won.
Right.
I think the votes are out there.
Okay.
Find those votes. So he didn't say, if you don't find those votes,
no, he didn't say that. And
if you don't find those votes, I'm gonna give you some hardship.
Right.
He didn't say anything.
You and I are from New Jersey, and if a mob boss says to you, it would be really uncomfortable if all of a sudden your brake lines were cut.
You can't. He didn't say that.
I know he didn't, but you understand this. The kitchen, similar stuff is cooking in the kitchen.
But he did not say it.
No, but
he's not.
The racketeering charge. The racketeering charge. The point of that is that you don't have to say it directly. You have to go. A reasonable person would assume.
No.
All right, and no, that's what the charge is.
And that person reasonably believed that they were in danger? No,
that's not what it is. It's not about danger. It's
what is it about?
Did Donald Trump take steps to alter an election outcome?
No.
Now there are steps that you can take.
Hold on.
So Al Gore thought he won the election.
What is the difference between asking for a recount? Or asking to find votes?
I can answer that. So the answer is that we have a system, right? So if you believe that there's something wrong, if you believe that election counts were done inaccurately or incorrectly, there is a legal process. Which, for example, Al Gore went through, right? And at the end of that process, Al Gore exhausted his legal stuff. And he said, okay, yep, you won.
He still never conceded.
Right. Yes, he did. He said he stood on the stage and said, I wish you good luck.
But still, there's no law that says you can't keep going. You can't keep asking.
But how you keep going is the question.
He didn't do anything illegal as he was keeping going. He was asking people.
These fake electors.
There's new votes. There's the votes out there.
But that's not how it works.
He was convinced, but that's okay. Then
there's rules as to how you do this.
But there's no laws that are against that.
Okay, so let's back up again.
It's very gray.
Could we agree that at the very least, that from a moral perspective, Donald Trump has no business being the president of the United States?
But you can't speak for the people.
I'm asking you, do you believe that Donald Trump has the moral fortitude to be the leader of the United States of America?
I don't care about his determination. I don't think, I like his policies. Do I personally want him to be the next president? I think he's too old. I don't want another Biden-Trump rematch. But I don't think it is worthy of him going to jail.
Okay, I'm not talking about that.
But that's what he's up for.
He sure is. He sure is.
And
we're going to find out.
I don't agree. And we're going to find out. But I don't think personally, I think this is ridiculous. You still got to, they always talk about respecting the office. He disrespected the office. You know what? They're disrespecting the office now. It already happened.
He's not the president anymore.
He was.
Right.
And they still need to respect the office. You cannot
but he's
go.
Not
if he's a murderer, he's an ex-president. And he earned it.
Right.
The people voted for him.
Right.
Once that's done, you got to give him a little more leeway. You can't be.
He was
nitpicking.
given an amazing amount of leeway.
You can't be
He has
nitpicking him.
a total.
I got one more thing. I gotta get this in. I got 5 minutes.
You have
Are you
5.5
ready?
minutes.
Are you
What am I
ready?
doing with this beer?
It's gonna be
I put
this.
up the side. Okay, go
Here
ahead.
we
What'd
go.
you do? What is this?
Bam! Sippin Cream.
Electric orange sipping.
We had banana last season. Now banana pudding.
God.
And this is brand new. It came out yesterday, dude. Yesterday.
Yesterday, this came out.
Yesterday.
First of all, this is Tim's favorite thing.
This is fun.
I think we're gonna find out that like
Okay, banana pudding Sippin Cream was amazing. And
this is definitely more my speed than the banana.
Electric Orange is a cherished treat in Dale and
Holy
Amy's
crap.
home. Whether relaxing, incorporating it in dessert recipes, or Dale's favorite, sipped straight from the freezer. And I had this freezer.
Okay, let's
Had
do
this in the freezer.
Here you go.
All day.
Electric orange sipping
Electric
cream. I
Orange.
swear to God, you're gonna kill me with this. Oh, look at the color!
It's like I can already tell it's gonna taste like a creamsicle.
Oh my God!
It's gonna taste like a creamsicle. I know it.
The color is electric
Alright.
orange. It's battery
Sippin'
operated.
Cream.
Hold on, hold on, wait.
Oh my god.
Okay, oh my God, wait a second, hold on.
Okay, not what I was expecting, but it tastes a lot.
Oh my God, that is good.
It's really good, but I thought it was gonna be more like
It's an
a
alcoholic
creamsicle.
creamsicle. No, I taste the.
It is a little creamsicle-y,
Oh,
but not as much as I thought.
Creamsicle.
Creamsicle.
Is it creamsicle or creamsicle?
Alright, dude, we have 5 minutes.
4 minutes? 3.5 minutes? Yeah.
So we'll address this because this Trump thing is going to go on for months.
So
I think it's going to go on.
let's
years.
do a
I don't
little.
think
Let's do
it's
a little projection here. Okay.
I
So
think he's going to get off.
all right. So first question. All right. So is he going to get charged or is he going to get off? You're saying
He's already been charged.
I'm sorry. Is he going to be found guilty?
I think he's going to be found innocent. Not guilty.
Not guilty on all 91 charges.
Every single one.
Okay. All right. Will Donald Trump be in a position to run for president of the United States?
Yes, and
Okay.
you know what? He's leading the polls. Even if he gets acquitted,
Right.
I mean, even if he gets prosecuted, he's going to be a martyr.
Yes, he will. That is correct.
I think he still can beat Biden.
Okay.
And we'll have the first president from jail. What is he going to do? Pardon himself, I guess? But I don't know. That's why I think this whole situation needs to be resolved behind closed doors because it's bad for the country. It's bad for the country. You know what?
I agree.
Let the people decide.
But hold on.
Let him go.
But
let
agree.
him campaign. Let the people decide. And if the people vote him in, great. If not, go.
I
for it.
agree with you.
Go for it. Wait till the election's over.
Okay, I agree with you to an extent. So the idea of let the people decide should be based on the people having an understanding accurately of what's going on.
Fine.
So here's my question.
I think
did Donald Trump take United States nuclear information and then attempt to hide the US government from taking it?
I don't know about that.
Okay. So part of the paperwork that was taken to Mar-a-Lago that was then moved involved nuclear secrets.
You can't have one side and then the other side.
Did Donald Trump hold on to information that involved the weakness of the U.S. military?
Do you think that Donald Trump himself picked up a box and carried it to Mar-a-Lago?
I don't think it needs to be that black and white.
Do you think that maybe it's possible that he had a bunch of crap and a bunch of his aides just took a bunch of crap and put it in Mar-a-Lago? And
if that were the case, I don't think he would have made attempts to cover it up.
Well,
if that were the
maybe
case,
he realized he had it there and holy crap, and he got a little panicky.
If that were the
as
case,
a human being,
the guy who now has new counsel, defense person number 4 or whatever, who now has his own attorney who's now flipping on Trump, who was the IT guy at Mar-a-Lago, is now saying he was directed to remove surveillance information.
They're trying to make him a plea deal. And he's caving.
Right, but you also can't lie in court.
No, but
right, and this is just an IT guy. This is just an IT guy.
They want him to just throw him under the bus. That's what they're trying to get.
But I also think that at the end of the day,
it's going to set precedent, and then Biden's going to get charged, and then
I hope
everybody
it sets
else.
precedent. And the difference here,
Obama has shit too. I bet. I guarantee it.
Here's the difference from my perspective: the Democrats don't care if Hunter Biden is guilty of a crime or not.
Yeah, but the Hunter Biden thing.
So hold on, right? Where I think that the Republicans now, unfortunately, have kind of put all their apples in this cart. So, like the Democrats as a whole, you don't see Democrats out there with big Biden flags on the back of their trucks, or fuck Donald Trump flags. Like I think for the most part, Democrats as a whole we're not attached to an individual. We're attached more to an idea, right? So like, and we did this with Al Franken. Like when Al Franken was doing his crap, the Democrats were get him out, right? So now the Republicans have a guy who has been legitimately charged with sexually assaulting somebody. Nobody seems to care.
Who?
Donald Trump had to pay $5.5 million for sexually assaulting that woman in a changing room in a the what's her name? The author. He paid $5.5 million.
When was this? When he was a liberal or a Democrat?
Really?
How long ago was this?
The charge, he wanted to pay her 6 months ago. $5.5 million. E. Jean Carroll. He sexually assaulted her in a dressing room.
Supposedly happened back when he was a Democrat.
Right. He's a rapist.
But he never went to jail for it. He never was charged for it.
So again,
because it was dismissed.
The case was not dismissed. He paid $5.5 million in damages. And on top of it, not to get we're at our hour point, but like,
okay,
let's wind it all down.
That's the thing.
Wind it down.
You got this Trump derangement syndrome that's still going on. He hasn't been president. Now they're all panicking, and they have to do everybody's just like piling on.
Here's the panic I have.
Whatever.
The panic I have.
My panic is Joe Biden for another 4 years. I don't care what happens. That guy cannot go in the freaking office. He's not going to survive, first of all. And then Kamala Harris, who couldn't even get past the primaries, is going to become our president. That's what worries me, because we might as well start learning Mandarin Chinese, because we're going to war if either one of those people are in office, because I'm sorry.
We are at an hour and 1 minute and 15 seconds.
All right. What
the
is
orange
your
cream is delicious?
Isn't it good?
Yeah.
It's good.
So ask me a question. What's a prediction?
We don't have any more, do we?
I have one more beer, but we'll save it for next one. So I asked you a couple of questions. Go ahead about this whole thing with Trump.
I'm done with the Trump thing.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to amount to anything. I think they're just
it's going to drag on.
It's going to drag on. It's going to drag on. I say let the people decide. If they don't want him as president, they won't.
I agree with you to a point.
Personally, I think one of the new people should be for the Republicans. I like DeSantis. I hate to lose him in Florida.
Right.
I don't think Ramaswamy is ready. He's too young and he's a little inexperienced. I think he's too crazy. But I would. Nikki Haley even did a pretty good job.
Nikki Haley, I gotta give her credit.
Well, she was a UN representative.
She came out guns blazing.
Oh yeah,
I gotta give her credit.
I would be happy with DeSantis or her. I think either one of them will be Biden, because Biden's not even campaigning. He doesn't even care. He's out for lunch.
Biden doesn't campaign.
He doesn't care. He's old. He's just being walked around. He's been on vacation for 3 months.
He doesn't care.
Kamala, where's Kamala? She's nowhere.
If you're asking me about the Republican that Democrats need to watch, so if I'm watching that line of people and I'm going,
Nikki Haley.
No, Christie.
What? Oh, he don't have a prayer.
I think Chris Christie, and this is going to be my.
He's got 1%.
I know he is. This is going to be my.
He's had it.
Here's my take. You ready? Here's my take. My take is this. I think that there is a large amount of Republicans that are ready to move past Donald Trump.
Sure.
Right?
But they're not going to go far past Trump.
I think that Nikki Haley put a little toss out there where she was willing to challenge a little bit of Trump's history. But I think you have a lot of Republicans, a lot of old school, like my parents, that I think would look at a guy like Chris Christie and go, this guy seems straightforward.
Hell no.
This guy, so that's my take. I think we're going to see a little bit more of Christie than we all anticipated.
No, he's done. He's not going to make it very far.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
I think that's
part of the show here.
I am predicting if Trump doesn't get the nomination, which is possible,
right? I don't think he's going to.
It's going to be DeSantis and Vice President Nikki Haley.
Ooh, that's an
a tough ticket.
That's an interesting combination.
That's a good ticket.
Yeah.
Okay, so what to watch? I told you, I know we're a couple minutes over.
Quick.
I told you I wanted you to go back in time
Right.
and watch The Fringe.
The Fringe.
Which was a really good show, and it lasted about 4 or 5
All right,
seasons.
30 seconds or less. The Fringe. All right. So, I honestly thought. I'm sorry. I just have to say.
You didn't like it?
If you were to do it, when I was first watching it, I'm like, I thought this was like a weird low budget, like
Very X-Files.
like X-Files.
Sure.
Like, I think the acting is absolutely awful.
Really?
It's awful, right?
Well, it was
Now,
made in the 90s.
It's awful. It's awful. Now this
Have you gone and watched an X-File episode?
Yeah,
It's
X-Files,
pretty the
yeah,
same.
right.
It's pretty
It's
equivalent.
however, I will say this: having watched the initial, like the first episode,
one,
right?
yeah.
I'm like, okay, you've got the possibility here for something, but the dramatics with the thing in the pool and the brains melding and coming, I'm like, oh my god, it was so excessive and silly. Like my wife walked out, not knowing what I was watching. She just walked in and she just looked and she's like, Jesus Christ, what the hell is this? Like,
Well, it's very
seemed-
sci-fi. Well,
I don't even
this
think
was
it
the-
is.
this- well,
It feels
I'm
to me
telling you,
like a bad
this-
soap opera.
This was the show that started getting the whole
Oh.
multiverse thing.
It was
activated.
rough, dude. It was rough,
Ah,
and I will give it another one or
alright,
two.
whatever.
I will give it,
Whatever.
but it was rough.
All right.
And then all of a sudden, oh, the boyfriend who's like this guy I love. Oh no, he might be a bad guy. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ! Like, come on! Like it felt very predictable to me. It felt very overacted. Oh, here's this hot girl, and then we're gonna make sure we take all her clothes off, and we have multiple camera angles and look at her flat tummy the whole time. And I'm just like, this was just bad, dude. I tried.
Dude,
I
you don't
love
like
you.
anything.
I love you,
don't like
dude. I
anything.
love you. I tried.
All right.
This was just
All
rough.
right. All right.
It was rough.
All right.
So what was your homework?
My thing was the Hunters.
Hunters.
We
Did you
watched
watch
one
one or two?
episode. One episode.
What'd you think of it?
We want to watch another one.
Yeah!
It was a little slow. It was a little slow, but
You're saying, wait, hold on. You're saying
I-
season 1, episode 1 of Hunters was slow?
very slow. Yeah.
There's like a murder in the first 5 minutes.
The first 5 minutes was very cool, and
Yeah.
but then they go, and then Al Pacino as a Jewish guy.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you on that. So he's just
That's
so
kinda-
stereotypically old school Jersey Italian.
He's Italian.
Yeah, and now he's a
like,
Jew.
And
Yeah.
all of a sudden he's talking like this, and it's like Jackie Mason here, hey. And I'm like, that's a hard sell.
Yeah, but
I
he
wanna
does
watch.
a really good job at it.
I don't know. I think he's the weakest part. The dude.
Oh God!
I hope he gets better because I keep seeing.
I'm sorry.
I keep seeing
For those of you who are
Scarface.
listening to this on the radio, Tim just punched me in the dick.
Yeah,
Al Pacino is the weakest link in the.
his character is just
Oh.
not. I think they really it was a poor casting job.
Oh,
Al Pacino,
dude! Oh my
Italian
God.
dude, playing an old Jewish
All
guy.
right, we'd like to thank you all
Why
for
didn't
watching
they
the
just
show.
get?
We will be having
Why
no
didn't they
other.
get like? I don't know what's the equivalent of like a Jackie Mason of today.
Dude, it's
I'm
not
like,
Jackie Mason. Jesus Christ!
well, he's supposed to be an old Jew from the concentration camp.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God! I thought he nailed it. I thought he
God.
nailed
He's
it.
probably the worst part about that. So I hope it gets better with him.
Guys, please do me a favor.
I
and-
keep waiting for him to go. Hey, what are you doing here?
Somebody please message us and tell me how wrong Tim is, please.
Good luck with that because I think other people are thinking the same thing.
I'd
It's
love to hear your
hard-
feedback.
It's
I'd love
hard
it.
to see.
I'd love to hear your
Jackie,
feedback.
it's hard to see Al Pacino
As an old Jew.
Jew.
I got that. I
Sorry.
got that. I think
It's
he
just-
nailed it though.
I don't know.
No. All right, dude, we're running long. We gotta go.
Yeah, so I have one thing for you.
Okay, sure.
Next thing to watch is I want you because you like The Office.
I do. I
And
love The Office.
Krasinski, what's his name?
Yeah, John Krasinski. You want me to watch Jack Ryan?
I want you to watch Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
season one.
Okay.
Just watch the first one. You're
All
gonna
right.
get hooked, man.
Gotcha.
Because you know Harrison Ford did it.
Right.
Alec Baldwin was Hunt for Red October.
Yep,
Same
yep,
character.
yep, yep.
This is before all that.
Okay.
All right, so he was just an analyst, but
Okay.
he's going out in the field and
Okay.
he's kicking butt.
All right. So for
So-
you, I have one of two choices.
Well, give me
You
your
can
number
you
one.
can pick one of these two. Okay.
The
You
one
can
that I can
either
actually
watch. Okay. And this is there's a backstory to this, but I'm not going to get into it now because we're out of time. So I did too. That was good. All right. I want you to either watch Jack Black in the Pick of Destiny.
Jesus Christ. I've
love
seen
that.
enough of that.
All right.
I think I've. got my
Or
fill
I would
of
like you to watch Your Highness.
that. Oh, what is that?
Or actually, or it's what's his name? From the my wife and I are now watching that The Righteous Gemstones.
I saw the preview.
You know, I take this all back. Watch The Righteous Gemstones.
Okay, The Righteous Gemstones.
Both my wife and I have very different opinions on things we like to watch.
What is
We're both
it? Is it
loving
like a detective kind of?
Not even close.
Oh, what is it?
John Goodman is the head of a Christian organization that one of those prosperity churches.
Okay.
You know, and there's a bunch of like the kids are like spoiled brats, and there's like some crime involved, and there's some murder going on in there.
Okay.
And it's
like all over the place.
It's all over. It's a great.
It's a comedy.
It is a
drama.
comedy. It's a comedy.
Okay.
But there's drama that rolls through it. Please
okay.
watch The Righteous Gemstones.
Well, Julie and I, my wife, we like action, sci-fi.
Yep.
So
Do you hear that, honey? His wife likes action and sci-fi.
that's why I married her. I mean, and she likes horror.
I mean, it's no 90
we
Day
like the
Fiancé.
horror. We like the horror movies.
Oh, I love horror
We
movies.
watched All of Us. That was good.
Yeah.
Or
The Last of
The
Us.
Last of Us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Cheers.
But
This might be the longest episode we've done. We're at an hour
no, it
and
is
10.
actually not, because our longest is an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We're very sorry.
Couple.
If anybody's still hanging around listening to us an hour and 10 in, thank you. Thank you.
We're a little snarker.
We're getting there.
Yeah. So Jack Ryan.
I will watch
Good
Jack
show.
Ryan, and I want you to
Alright.
watch The Righteous Gemstones.
All right, hang in there,
Hang in-
students,
Guys,
and
we love
teachers.
you. All right.
Love you guys, teachers. fellow
Electric
teachers.
Orange. What is this?
Sippin Cream.
Sippin Cream. Electric Orange. Sippin Cream.
And then we got the.
And the Lagunitas Maximus.
That wasn't my favorite. I like the vodka. What is it? The Voodoo.
The Voodoo.
Ranger.
Yeah,
Voodoo
New
Ranger.
Belgium Voodoo Ranger juicy.
And the Jack and Coke Zero was.
That
not
was
too bad.
surprisingly good. This was good. Thank you guys again. If for no other reason, it gives me an excuse to hang out with one of my best friends. So I love you, dude. Thank you. This has been great. I always enjoy it. And we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Have a good one.
Sancha, Kampai.
Gesundheit.
Here's to swimming with bow-legged women. Yeah.
Go.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.
That's good stuff right there.
God, that's good.
There's like 5 other flavors now.
Dude, this might be my favorite one.
They get the chocolate,
No, I like the orange.
butter pecan.
Is there like the butter pecan? There's like a caramel thing that goes on the butter pecan. Yeah.
They got strawberry cream.
Right. This means
There's one other.
this is still recording.